guys! So it's the first Monday in March, and so I'm here to tell you about the books I read in February and let you know which ones were my favorites. I actually didn't read as much this month as I read in January, so I'm a little sad about that. The first book I read this month was Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. I actually bought this book back when all that book banning hubbub was going on, and I finally got around to reading it, and I'm really glad I did. The second book I read this month was a book called Austenland by Shannon Hale, which has a Jane Austen theme to it, if you like Jane Austen, and it was a very light read and one that I enjoyed between two very heavy reads this month. And the last book I read this month was Sever by Laurie and DeStefano, which was the third and last book in the Chemical Garden trilogy. Again, choosing a favorite this month was very difficult. I enjoyed all the books I read this month. I'd have to say my favorite, beating Speak only by the smallest of margins, was Sever by Laurie and DeStefano, and I think really the only reason why it beat Speak for me was because I was already so invested with the characters going into it, since I have been with the trilogy since the first book came out. For those of you who have not heard of this trilogy before, it's very beautifully written. Laurie and DeStefano has one of the most beautiful voices I've ever read. It's a dystopia that takes place in the not-so-distant future in which scientists have basically found a way to create perfect humans that never get disease or anything like that, and everything's fine and dandy until the second generation of these humans, there's something wrong with them. They all have a virus which causes the boys to die at age 25 and the girls to die at age 20. So it's kind of a very sad, heavy series. It's what I like to call a calm dystopia. Like most dystopias you read are very action-packed and there's always something going on. And there's always something going on in this series, but it's not always like hardcore action. The books go very fast, they're very interesting reads, and they're very engaging characters. The main character's name is Rhine, and she actually gets kidnapped from the streets of Manhattan, which is where she grew up with their twin brother. They're orphans. Their parents died in a horrible accident because they were scientists and their lab got blown up. But she's kidnapped off the streets and brought to Florida, where she is forced to marry a man named Lyndon, whose father is a scientist trying to find a cure. His father is kind of trying to find a cure in not so kind ways. Like he's doing experiments on people and stuff like that, and it's super creepy and super interesting. And by the way, Ryan's marriage to Lyndon is polygamous, so she has two sister wives. That's basically what this world has become. The first generations, that's what they call the people who are basically perfect humans. The rich ones are trying to get their sons to marry as many women as possible so they can get as many grandchildren as possible to therefore further on the line and hope that eventually one day one of them will get cured of the virus. If you have read it or any of these books that I mentioned this month, please let me know in the comments. Again, I liked all the books I read this month, so I highly recommend all of them. And again, I'll put my affiliate links and links to all my stuff throughout the webs in the description, so yeah, I'll see you next time.